Let's take a little journey today, right inside your own chest. Now, most of us probably think of the human heart as just, well, a simple muscle that beats. But when you really dig into the medical science, it is absolutely so much more than that. It's this breathtakingly intricate combination of a relentless physical machine, like a fluid pump, and a highly sophisticated localized electrical grid that tells that pump exactly what to do. So in today's explainer, we're going to completely deconstruct this miraculous system to understand exactly how it works together to keep us alive.
Okay, let's dive into this. Our syllabus for today covers 6 main parts. First, the real human heart. Then, bellows and pistons, the 4 heart valves, the electrical spark, decoding the ECG, and we'll wrap up with the art of pattern recognition.
Starting right off with Section 1, the real human heart, myth versus reality.
Before we can really understand how this anatomical engine works, we kind of need to shatter a very common misconception. We all know the classic Valentine's Day heart, right? It's perfectly symmetrical, bright red, with a sharp point at the bottom, and usually imagined sitting dead center in our chest. But the reality? It doesn't look anything like that holiday symbol. The real human heart is actually a conical-shaped muscle, and it has a rounded point, not a sharp one. Plus, while it is centrally located behind your breastbone, it actually bulges and sits slightly left of center. It's basically a hard-working, continuously pumping muscle that has perfectly adapted to fit its space.
All right, moving to Section 2, bellows and pistons, the mechanics of blood flow.
Now that we know what the heart actually looks like and where it sits, let's look at the anatomical engine itself. This is where physical shape perfectly dictates function. Imagine tracing the unceasing, looping journey of just one single drop of blood. It starts when tired, oxygen-depleted venous blood from your body enters the top right chamber, the right atrium. From there, it drops down into the right ventricle. The right ventricle then pumps this blood out to your lungs, where it drops off carbon dioxide and picks up a fresh, bright red supply of oxygen. That revitalized blood returns to the left atrium, drops into the left ventricle, and then gets literally power pumped out through the aorta to deliver oxygen and nutrients to every single cell in your body. It is an amazing, continuous circle of life. And the differences between these two bottom chambers brilliantly illustrate the mechanical genius of the heart. The right ventricle is actually thin-walled. Why? Well, because it only has to pump blood right next door to the lungs. The pressure in the lungs is low, so the right ventricle does low-pressure, high-volume work. It's kind of like a blacksmith's bellows, gently pushing large amounts of air. But the left ventricle? It has to pump blood all the way down to your toes and back up against gravity. Because of that, it is heavily muscled and thick-walled. It does really high-pressure work, functioning much more like a heavy-duty piston in a car engine. Form follows function perfectly.
Section 3, the 4 heart valves, the engine's doors.
So just like any mechanical engine pumping fluid, the heart absolutely needs one-way doors. Without them, the blood would just slosh back and forth uselessly, which we definitely do not want. To keep the blood flowing strictly in one direction, the heart has 4 distinct valves. Medical students actually learn a fantastic mnemonic to remember the exact sequence of these closing valves, and you can learn it right now too. It's MTAP. It stands for Many Things Are Possible. The M is for the mitral valve, the T is for the tricuspid, the A is for aortic, and the P is for pulmonic. By just keeping that simple phrase in mind, many things are possible, you can instantly recall the sequence of the heart's internal doors slamming shut to keep your blood moving forward.
Which brings us to Section 4, the electrical spark, wiring the heart.
Now, this is where our narrative takes a really pivotal shift. We've looked at the anatomical engine, the chambers, the valves, the whole physical setup. But now, we have to look at the localized computer that controls it all. I mean, what actually triggers this mechanical engine to pump in the first place? The heart is a remarkably strong muscle, yes, but here is the fascinating secret. The heart muscle cannot physically squeeze on its own without an electrical command. None of it happens without a spark. Without it, the engine just sits completely idle. And here is the exact timeline of that electrical spark. In millisecond 1, a natural automatic pacemaker at the very top of the heart, called the SA node, fires off an electrical signal. This causes the top chambers, the atria, to squeeze. But then, right in millisecond 2, the electrical signal hits something called the AV node, and it intentionally pauses. Now, why pause? Well, think about it. If the top chambers and the bottom chambers squeezed at the exact same time, the blood wouldn't go anywhere. That tiny, miraculous pause gives the blood the exact time it needs to drop from the atria down into the ventricles. Only after that, in millisecond 3, does the electrical wave shoot down into the bottom of the heart, causing that massive, life-sustaining ventricular squeeze.
All right, Section 5, decoding the ECG, reading the waves.
So, how do doctors actually visualize this invisible electrical system? They use an electrocardiogram, or an ECG. 60 to 100. That number right there represents the normal resting beats per minute of a human heart. That incredible electrical sequence we just talked about, the spark, the pause, the squeeze, is happening inside your chest, perfectly and flawlessly, 60 to 100 times every single minute you are sitting here watching this explainer. It is truly astounding when you stop to think about it.
Now, what's really interesting is that when you look at an ECG, you are basically just watching the exact electrical timeline we just learned, broken down into 3 easily digestible steps. That first small bump you see, that's the P wave. That's the electrical signal firing the top chambers, the atria. Then you get a massive spike called the QRS complex. That is the heavy electrical command telling those thick-walled ventricles to squeeze hard and pump blood to the body. And finally, there's the T wave. This is the absolutely vital resetting phase where the heart's electrical system recharges to get ready for the very next beat. So it's spark, squeeze, reset. P, Q, R, S, T.
Now, you might actually be wondering, why on earth did medical science start naming these waves in the middle of the alphabet? Why P, Q, R, S, and T? Why not just start with A, B, C, D? Well, back in the early 20th century, a Dutch physician named Einthoven was trying to record the heart's electrical activity. His early machines picked up so much static and external movement that he labeled all those random messy artifact waves A, B, C, and D. He just kept fine-tuning his machine, moving further and further down the alphabet until he finally struck pure electrical gold with the letters P, Q, R, S, and T. The true signals. How cool is that?
Section 6, the art of pattern recognition, saving lives.
Now that we understand the anatomy and those little electrical waves, how do cardiologists actually master this to save lives? Well, interpreting these complex waves is really less about doing rigid mathematical calculations in a fast-paced emergency room and more about a deeply human skill. As our source beautifully notes, your brain allows you to recognize a pattern immediately when you see it, just as you'd instantly recognize a good friend's face in a crowd or the swirling patterns of Van Gogh's Starry Night. An expert cardiologist looks at that QRS complex and instantly recognizes the visual pattern of a heart attack. The structured medical science becomes an art form that quite literally rescues a failing engine.
So we've covered the thick ventricular pistons, the low-pressure bellows, those 4 sequence-perfect valves, the incredibly crucial electrical pause, and the PQRS waves that map the whole shebang out. So here's a thought to leave you with. How many hundreds of millions of times will your own bellows, pistons, and electrical sparks fire flawlessly in your lifetime? I mean, a healthy heart beats around 100,000 times a day. Over an 80 or 90-year lifespan, that engine will tirelessly spark, squeeze, and reset billions of times without you ever having to consciously think about it, even once. I really hope this explainer has given you a profound sense of awe and appreciation for the incredible machine operating right now inside your chest. Keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.